Hey guys, it's Blade back with more Genshin Impact. I know I've promised a 5-star tier list and I'm still working on that, but just as an aside, I'm making this video because I finally cleared floor 12 of Spiral Abyss before I reached AR50. Now, I know a lot of other people have done it and I'm pretty late to join the party, but I just want to tell you guys that I feel good that this was done on an account where I thought I've made a lot of investment mistakes in the process, right? So it goes to show that there are ways in which you can circumvent around the mistakes you've made, and there's no need to be disheartened. Just that maybe you'll only be able to get where you need to be in a week or two slower. So this video is basically a story of people that didn't use any Pyro as their main DPS because I used Razor and Childe as my main carries. I'll start with showing you guys the teams I use and how far they are from being an optimum setup. Here you go guys, these are the teams I use. For team 1 you have Razor, Xiangling, Sucrose, Jean. For team 2 you have Childe, Fischl, Diona, Bennett. Initially I thought I would use Xingqiu instead of Sucrose, but I really am not a fan of getting frozen when I use Xingqiu's ability, and it turns out that Sucrose just does a lot for me. Also, I thought Childe wasn't going to cut it, so I was on the way to getting Bennett to replace Childe as the main DPS, but it was sufficient for the clear. In the future, I would still go for Bennett as the main DPS, and the team will probably look like this: Bennett, Chong, Childe, and Diona. But, you know, we'll see. Now let's go through what those characters are rocking. Razor is level 80 because he's the carry. He would get ascended when I reach AR50 but not level. I'm using Serpent Spine, the BP weapon, at level 80. And I'm running the full 4-piece Gladiator, but my cup and my headgear are still 4-star. I'll replace the cup with a 5-star physical cup, but I just don't have any at the moment. And I'll replace the timepiece and headgear if I get good rolls on them. Of course, 2-piece Bloodstain and 2-piece Gladiator are inferior to 4-piece Gladiator. Unfortunately, it's just too expensive to be farming Gladiator pieces. I'm lucky enough to get to Constellation 2, but Constellation 4 is the one that makes Razor broken. As for talents, I'm still at 766 because I'm not lucky enough to get the basic attack to 8. Xiangling is level 70, but I really want to ascend her to 70-80 because I want to upgrade the talents on her ultimate. Back when I cleared for the first time, Xiangling was still using the level 70 Crescent Pike, which wasn't ideal for support Xiangling. But now I do have the Dragon's Bane at level 70 and I'll be using that for my future runs. When I have the mats, I'll be upgrading the weapon to the max level possible. I'm running 4-piece Gladiator on Xiangling, and that's just how fully optimized my Xiangling is built. Firstly, there's still only 4-star artifacts, and secondly, I should be on a 4-piece Crimson Witch instead. I have a Constellation 2 Xiangling, but because I'm not running her as DPS, the second constellation doesn't do anything. Lastly, her talents are at 666 because she isn't ascended yet. My Sucrose is at 60-70. Currently, I don't have any plans to ascend her yet. I'm using the craftable Mapamare at level 70, and getting it to level 80 would be one of the first things I'll do for Sucrose. I'm using the 4-piece Venera on Sucrose. They're all still at level 0. I may be getting them up to level 12 too, but it's not a high priority at the moment. I have Constellation 3 Sucrose, but it's just the first constellation that's kind of a big deal. Her talents are technically at 222. The reason why the E is at level 5 is because of the constellation. Eventually I'll also get this up to at least 266. My Jean is at level 70. I don't really have any plans to ascend her yet because she does enough healing and her level is high enough to stay at the Fatui. I'm using a level 80 Skyrider sword, which is sufficient, but I do wish I have at least a 4-star weapon on her. I just don't really have any appropriate ones at the moment. I'm using a 4-piece Venera on her, and her artifacts are a bit more built than Sucrose because she needs a bit of attack for healing. Now, it's not even ideal to run 2 Venera supports, but I just don't have the resources to build a 4-piece Noblesse on her yet. I can't find any ER timepiece on Venera, so I'm using a 5-star Gladiator one at the moment. I maxed it out because having a high ultimate uptime is very important for Jean as she starves for energy. If I get my hands on a 5-star attack Venera to replace her cup and the headpiece, of course I'll be sure to use them, but it's not a high priority upgrade at the moment. I do have a Constellation 1 Jean, which is amazing because it seems rather unlikely to get any more Constellation for a 5-star, right? Her first Constellation isn't a big deal, but it does help me get closer to Constellation 2 and 4. Her talents are at 666 and I'm not planning to upgrade them at the moment. That's it for team 1, let's move on to the second team. My Childe is at level 80 and I'll assign him to 80-90 when I reach AR50 so that I can upgrade his talents. I'm using the 5-star aimless bow because my rust is still at refinement 0 and it's just really difficult for any 4-star weapons to catch up on any 5-star weapons because of the attack scaling. I'm using the 4-piece Thunder Soother on Childe and is the reason why I'm pairing him with Fischl. I have thought about replacing this with 2-piece Gladiator and 2-piece Noblesse for when I can't use Fischl, but 1, I don't have the resources yet, and 2, the new Hydro set is coming out soon. My Childe is at Constellation 0 and it goes to show that you can still use him as a carry as long as you manage his cooldown properly even at Constellation 0. The talents are at 666 because I don't have the mats to upgrade them. My Fischl is at level 79 and because she's at Constellation 6, I'm planning to ascend her to 80-90. Fischl is only my sub DPS, but at Constellation 6, it feels like half of my team damage is contributed by Fischl. On hindsight, this was a mistake because normally I would remain at 60-70 or 70-80 unless it is my carry. But Fischl is definitely a very strong support and I don't regret investing in her. I have the Stringless at level 80. I'm using the 2-piece Gambler and 2-piece Thundering Fury. Naturally, I use the Gambler on the Flower and the Timepiece. Also, I'm using the Attack Electro Crit build. My Fischl is at max Constellation thanks to the Fischl event. Her talents are at 686 and I'm planning to upgrade her E to 9 when I can. Diona is at 60-70 and I don't know if this is an overkill or not because unlike your typical healers, Diona's shield needs to be a bit more stacked to be useful. But I am currently happy at this level. I'm using the Favonius Warbow because I don't have the sacked bow. At level 60, it may also be an overkill as I know some of my friends who are only using a level 40 bow. I'm using the 2-piece Exile and 2-piece Scholar on her, but ideally I want to run a 4-piece Noblesse. I do have Constellation 1 on Diona, which does help a little bit because of her high energy cost, but I think the notable constellation for Diona is at Constellation 6. I have Diona at 265 and I'll get her up to 266, even though I don't think it's that important, but I guess I'm just rather OCD like that. Bennett is at level 71 and if I have the resources I would level him all the way to level 80 because I'm planning to use him as the main DPS instead of Childe for floor 12. I think I will still use Childe in the team, but he will play the role of a burst support instead. I'm using a level 70 Black Sword, which isn't the ideal support weapon, but because I have plans for him to become the main DPS, I'm not investing in a 3-star ER weapon. Also, I will get the sword to the max level when I can. I am using a 4-piece Noblesse Oblige, even though I don't have any of them leveled up yet. I was thinking of at least leveling the ER Timepiece, but because I don't have a 5-star ER Noblesse yet, so this will have to do. Also, it's very likely that I will use a 4-piece Crimson Witch on him, so I'm not in a hurry to build his artifacts. I am at 0 Constellation for Bennett because the only Bennett I have is from the Star Glitters shop last month, but I am aiming to get him to at least Constellation 1 and then I'll take as many constellations as I can get until Constellation 5. My talents are at 686, but I am planning to get this to at least 888 when I have the mats. So that's the profile of the 2 teams that I have. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience in Spiral Abyss 12. The reason why I decided to go ahead with Childe is because I do have a 5-star weapon suitable for him, right? And also because I have a Constellation 6 Fischl that can serve as a good pairing. But I had a miserable time trying to kill the Cryo Slimes on the first chamber because it was just really difficult for me to proc Electro Charge against them. First of all, I have to switch to Bennett to shred their armor, and if Fischl does hit alongside Childe, you tend to get a superconduct reaction, which is useless for Childe because his attacks are mostly elemental rather than physical. It also means that Childe's Thunder Soother artifacts are useless because you can't stick the electro element on these slimes. My experience was completely reversed when I changed to Razor because his Claymore can break the slime's armor and superconduct is very useful on Razor. The only problem I had was getting enemies grouped up, and because I don't have Venti, Sucrose actually solves that problem. On top of that, Sucrose and Jean are of the same element, so they really help each other in ultimate uptime. That's all for the video this time round. I hope if any of the characters here were undervalued before, they get a bit more appreciation this time. I hope this video is useful to help you guys with Spiral Abyss, and if so, please leave a like, and if you have any questions or anything to say, please leave them on the comment section below. Also, do subscribe for more Genshin Impact content, and yeah, have a good one guys.